We were just talking about closing the arm, specifically about lifting the upper arm. I'm mentioning this because it's a very common problem. The reason we ask you to complete the full forehand drive motion is so you can learn to properly close the arm. First, focus on the frame. You can start slowly to learn how to close the arm. Then, as you gradually increase the quality, you'll start generating power. Many amateur players' forehands lack the accelerating snap when closing the arm, which is why they can't produce power. We're using the same model of blade and rubber, so why can your friend get that thwack, thwack, thwack sound of the ball sinking into the blade, but you can't? After some analysis, I believe it's because the path of their arm closing motion is incorrect. For example, with the forehand drive, after opening up, let's break down the motion from a scale of 1 to 10 from the starting point. Look, the elbow and the upper arm are held in a fixed position. Then, you fully close the arm. This is where amateur players run into trouble, right at this arm closing phase. I'll demonstrate some incorrect movements, such as once the trajectory is wrong, it kills the explosive power that should be generated by closing the arm. Then you lose all speed, the entire motion becomes faulty. So when the technique is wrong, the frame can't hold. It's unstable, it collapses. The motion takes a detour, it doesn't follow the correct path. Most commonly, I see 3 mistakes: 1, going upward, 2, pushing, 3, going to the left. These are the typical issues we see in training. So, let's talk about this. If you want a powerful forehand drive and a powerful loop, your frame is key. Look at a loop, it's the same. This frame needs to be stable, and then when I loop, I can generate power instantly. But if your motion is incorrect when you start the loop, of course it's going to affect your power generation. Am I right in summarizing it like this? The frame for closing the arm is just not stable. This part of the arm starts taking the scenic route. That means there's a problem with closing the arm. The trajectory of the arm closing motion is wrong, and that's what hurts your power. Look, whenever the technique is correct, listen to this sound. Watch my motion closely. It's the same for pen hold. A very solid contact with the blade. I feel that only when the joints provide support can you get that whip-like effect. If everything is wobbly, you lose that moment of acceleration. So when you're generating power, the joints must be held stable. The muscular parts, this muscle, and this one, they need to demonstrate acceleration. We have to accelerate our muscles. If the elbow moves with the forearm or the shoulder with the arm, you can't create acceleration. Right, the joint positions must be stable, and then the muscles accelerate. Our fleshy parts here need to sprint when it's time to sprint, right? And our joints, in my view, need to be firmly supported. For example, the shoulder. Let's summarize why everyone's power generation is affected. If your shoulder is wobbly, you definitely can't generate power. It just becomes a brush. The shoulder must be locked at the moment of contact. Then the elbow. As it drives forward into the ball, the elbow stops. Then, the key is the acceleration in this last moment. Once you get this frame stable, study my technique carefully. Beautiful. That speed is incredible. I really believe that the joints must be supported. Don't let them wobble or wander. Because once the joints start to move along with the stroke, your entire arm motion becomes uniform in speed, and the power is no longer concentrated. And the motion becomes constant speed. Secondly, once it wobbles, the trajectory of your arm closing changes. It changes, and you take a detour. Maybe it goes left, maybe upward, maybe you start pushing. See, these are all caused by not locking the joints. If you support it here and then accelerate the closing of your arm, you'll get concentrated power. That's when forearm sprint and forearm acceleration become meaningful.
真是有好多发不上力，真是在手臂这一下，就是关节。
Shuai, try this now. Let your joint move upwards. Try it. Use all your strength, try it, and you'll find you can't generate power. It's so strange. Try it. See? Yes. It's true. You feel it, but that explosive point is missing. Right. The entire motion, even if I try to accelerate, completely lacks that sudden burst, that explosive moment. Now try it again, but lock the joint. It immediately becomes very stable. Yesterday when I was teaching, sometimes when the lesson goes well, I go back and... I'm not a big drinker, otherwise Coach Yang would have a couple of drinks every day. Sometimes you explain something so well that you have a breakthrough yourself. You're all listening. I think, once you lock that joint, the explosion just happens, doesn't it? Yes, the power just bursts out. Try it again. Now move the joint, let it wobble. The sound changes completely. Right. The ball just schemes off the rubber and goes. Even if I use more force with the wobbly joint than the fixed one, very little of that force transfers to the ball. It feels like you're using the same acceleration, the same effort. But when our joints wobble or move along, the entire motion becomes loose, and the power feels unfocused, like it just dissipates. I think everyone really needs to pay attention to this. Look at my joint. If you do this, no matter how much force you use, it won't transfer to the ball. There's no explosive power. No explosive power, right. See? It's the same for your loop. If you want to loop with a lot of forward drive, when you generate power, support your joints. Your shoulder has a lock, your elbow has a fixed point, then you loop normally. Try it. Isn't it much more powerful? Yes, the power is immense. The motion becomes very compact. You get that acceleration in your hand. But if you don't focus on the shoulder and elbow, try it, using the same force, and feel the difference. The power scatters? It scatters. Now lock it again. Lock it tight. Yes, lock it tight. The motion might even feel smaller, yet it's faster. You didn't even adjust the size of your swing, right? You just locked the position of the joints. One is the shoulder, the other is the elbow, for the forehand system, right? Because you have to use your wrist for a loop, you can't lock that. But with the same motion, did you notice? You didn't do it consciously, but once you had that joint support, you started to get acceleration. The explosive power is excellent. Look, yes, add more spin, that's it, add spin. Yes, good. Keep it fixed. Right, the elbow, lock the elbow a bit more. Right, lock it more. Yes, elbow. Perfect. Elbow. That's it. Wow, it's true. It seems like the body's, this feeling, let me feel it. It's the same principle as your hip drive. Your elbow moves and then instantly locks, your hip is the same, it rotates and then instantly locks. The body mechanics we've taught must also lock, you can't just keep turning. It's the same principle as the arm. Same principle. If the elbow locks here, the explosive power of the forearm can be whipped out. Now feel this, consciously use the elbow as a brake, and then whip the forearm out. Feel that sudden stop, followed by the forearm snapping forward. Your forearm must be relaxed and whipped freely. Okay. Yes, whip the forearm. Right. The elbow moved too much. Less elbow, forearm, yes, that's the feeling. You've got it. First, fix it, then accelerate this part. Yes, I can feel it. The feeling is very good. Exactly, it's very good. You feel like you apply the brakes to the elbow first, and after it stops, the forearm accelerates. The key is not to let the elbow drift with the forearm. Right. Now try letting them move together. It doesn't work, the power disperses. See, you're still using power, right? Now do it correctly, lock it. The speed is immediately different. Lock it here. This feels just like locking your hip, it's the same principle. Correct, this part must be braced. After the hip drive, feel both the shoulder and elbow lock simultaneously. Isn't the power more concentrated? Yes, it is. The power transfer feels smoother. What affects the forearm wrap trajectory, which we know should go from the outside of the body towards the forehead? Is the wobbling of the elbow and shoulder? They aren't fixed, they aren't braced. This causes your forearm wrap to be incorrect, for example, going this way or that way, and the power disperses. Your elbow always follows the motion, either up, left, or forward in a push. It doesn't stop and then wrap, so you can't display that explosive power. It's even more obvious in a forehand drive. Try it like this, with your elbow pushing forward. This is the sound most people make. Right. Now, fix the elbow, stop it here, and wrap the forearm. Listen. That's the sound. Two different sounds. See the difference? Yes. You must fix it. What do you think? Is this a good analysis? I've learned something new again. Sometimes while teaching, I stumble upon a key insight. I never had this kind of feeling when I was a competitive player. For instance, when a topspin shot goes long, let's analyze it with a backhand forehand drill. Okay. When transitioning from backhand to forehand, why does the ball go out? Because the elbow, the joint, isn't locked. It wasn't braced. Then, when a player gets nervous, the whole motion becomes bigger, looser, and slower. And stiffer. If in a backhand forehand transition you lock the elbow here, the shot becomes very stable and the ball speed is faster. I believe in many cases, excessive joint movement causes the arc and trajectory of the forearm wrap to be incorrect, resulting in a lack of power. This is so crucial. Players must try to feel this. The key is to fix the shoulder and elbow. Especially on the forehand. Tonight we'll cover backhand power generation in our live stream. Let me explain this again. For the forehand, focus on your elbow and shoulder. Here's what it means. The backswing is relaxed. As you initiate the forward swing with your body, you drive forward, at which point the shoulder and elbow lock. Then, focus on feeling the forearm snap. Here's how to practice this. Stand in position, fix your elbow and shoulder, and just practice accelerating your forearm wrap, like this. You will be able to generate power. The reason it fails is that when you try to generate power, the shoulder and elbow move. They are not fixed. Keep them fixed and practice the wrap like this. You can all try to feel this. Deliberately focus your attention on your shoulder and elbow, don't let them move, and just wrap your forearm. See if you can produce the power you were missing before. It's definitely related. After you lock both, practice like this, start relaxed, then snap, snap, snap. Everyone, give it a try. I think you should try and feel it. This really is the reason why so many people can't generate power. The problem is definitely in the shoulder and elbow. An unlocked shoulder and elbow will lead to an incorrect wrap trajectory and a loose motion. A loose motion has no explosive power, it's not concentrated. It's like slapping someone. A direct slap is powerful, but if you swing your arm in a big loop, it loses its power because there's no fixed point.